Hey guys, welcome back to the This Is All Skate Shop YouTube channel. We are here in the This Is All Skate Shop, and today I'm gonna learn you all the different braking and stopping techniques that you can do on inline skates. To do so, we're gonna go in the Vondelpark, which is right behind our store. So if you're ever around, come and get some skates here. You can also do rentals, and let's skate together in the Vondelpark. Let's go there now, and I'll show you all the different techniques that I mean. Oh. Hey. All right, here we are in the park. It's a beautiful day today. There's lots of skaters in the park as well. And one thing that all these skaters should, of course, learn is how to brake and how to stop. And these terms are usually a little bit mixed. Hey, Martin. So what's the difference between braking and stopping? That is, stopping is coming to a complete standstill at the precision location, and braking just means slowing down. So braking techniques in general are good for high speeds to low speeds, and you can always use them to go from low speeds to a complete standstill as well, but then they're not good at like a precision stop. If you want to stop like at a certain point where you really need to be really precise, then you should not use any braking techniques. Let me show you what happens with the braking technique. Maybe like a T-brake, and then you're like, I missed my target, and then you're in the ditch, and you don't want that. All right, so there's braking techniques and stopping techniques. We'll start with the braking techniques, but before we get into that, I want to make sure that you know how to do the emergency brakes, because those are actually the most important, so we'll start with that. So what do I mean with emergency braking techniques? Those are actually falling techniques. Falling has a really negative connotation. It sounds really bad, but actually falling can be one of the best things that you can do in an emergency situation. If you don't know what to do, you can always go to the ground. The ground is your friend. He's always there to help you. And if you look at the ground as your friend, it's going to be the best friend that you ever had. If you look at the ground as your enemy, it's going to be the worst enemy that you ever had. Because if you want to avoid the ground, eventually you're going to go there anyway, and then the ground's going to slap you in the face. So the best thing is to do, if you have any imbalance, is to go to the ground like this. This is called the proposal technique. And it's also a good emergency brake technique, because if you put one knee on the ground, of course, you are going to have knee pads when you do it. Then you can just drag that one knee over the ground and come to a complete standstill. The technique that I always do is called the mermaid technique. That is this technique here, where you're sitting with your legs together, straight up in a position like this. And then you fall on your butt and on your hand, and you slide to a stop like this, so you don't need knee pads with this. That's why I don't wear knee pads. Let me show you what I mean. So you come skate, you get down, you tilt your legs to the side, reach out with your hand, and then sit. You can also do this at high speeds, and you just slide to a stop. The proposal technique, where with one knee on the ground, would look like this. Like this, and then you drag your knee over the ground until you come to a complete standstill. Hey, look at that, there's a bunch of slalom skaters. What's up, guys? Whoa.
In de wild, nice man. Ja?
Oké, kom zakken. Dan buig je je knie opzij. Ja, oké, jij gaat die kant op, dan doen we spiegelbeeld. Steek je hand uit en dan ga je nu gewoon naast je zitten. That's it.
Oké.
Kan je het nog een keer? Want nu was het nog een beetje onwennig. En nu is hij gewoon solid. Zakken, kanten je voeten, steek je hand uit en zitten. That's it. Als je dit op hoge snelheid doet, dan glij je gewoon een stukje door, maar er is niks aan de hand. En ik heb dit gewoon een keer echt moeten gebruiken in een noodsituatie. Dat er een vrachtwagenklep zeg maar zo naar beneden stond. En ik moest opeens remmen. En toen duurde ik gewoon Zemermin. Zat ik onder die klep. Maar anders dan was ik gespietst door die klep. Ik bedoel, een powerslide was niet snel genoeg geweest, zeg maar. Het enige wat ik kon doen was echt die Zemermin. Dus het is soms wel echt gewoon goed om te kunnen. Zakken, kantel je voeten. Steek je hand uit en zitten. Yes. Ja, maar dan nog eerder met je bil naar de grond. Het is een beetje zoals het vangen van een bal. Als je een bal hier vangt, dan kan je hem nooit goed vangen. Maar je moet een bal naar je toe brengen, toch? Dus hoe eerder je de bal vangt, hoe beter je hem vangt. Hoe eerder je met je bil op de grond bent eigenlijk, hoe beter. Toch? Nee. Ja, dus jij probeert nu te vermijden dat je bil op de grond gaat.
Ja.
Maar je moet het juist opzoeken. Dus je moet juist...
Oh, je moet je knieën natuurlijk.
Nee, ja, je knieën, maar ook je bil. Dus hoe meer je bil uitsteekt, hoe eerder je bil zit, hoe zachter de klap is. Ja. Dus ga zo snel mogelijk met je bil naar de grond.
Oké.
Zakken. Ja, bil naar de grond, bil naar de grond.
Oeh, nog verder?
Ja, juist. Ja, dit is prima. Eigenlijk moet je met je benen zeg maar samen blijven.
Oh ja, dan heb je meer...
En dan lekker doorglijden zeg maar, ja. Ja, dat is een 9 uit de 10. Ja, lekker man. Alright, keep practicing. So we're doing braking techniques first. You just learned the emergency brake, and now we're doing the first like brake, and that's turning just a little bit around. Look, more skaters there! Yay! If you just skate and you put this leg behind you like this, then you automatically start turning into a little circle. Okay. When you do it, you should have your weight distribution 50-50. So don't lean just on one leg or on the other, and then it will probably go okay. It is a little bit difficult though and sketchy, and especially if you're not a really good skater, I would practice this in a safe environment with really slow speeds first, and don't try this like when you really need it, because I've seen a lot of people also fall with this. And any techniques where you turn around and go backwards, that's also really dangerous for falling on your head. There's a few other variants in the circle stopping techniques, and these are called... Hey man, I need your help.
Yeah, what's up?
You know those things you get in high school with one pin and like a pencil to draw a circle?
Yeah, it's not called like a compass, right?
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah. So the right way to name this is called the compass, and that's when you you pretend you're that instrument. You just skate, put one foot in front of each other, go on your heel, and flip your foot to the side, and then you make this circle. So if I would have painted on this skate, I would have drawn a circle with my foot. Let me show you again. You skate, go like this, then to the outside, and then you make a circle. And there's a few other ways to do this as well. One is when you go backwards and you do it like this. And the third way is like this. Boom. So there's 3 different ways to do the compass. 2 of them which are really impractical. One which is actually a fun stopping technique. And the others are just at least fun to try, but they're not really something you do in the wild maybe when you're like in traffic or something. So that's the category of the circle stopping techniques. Now let's move on to the next one. The next technique that we're going to do is the pizza point technique. It's a very well-known technique. Ice skaters use it a lot as well. It's where you start off really wide and then make a point with your legs. A common mistake with this one is that people do it really slow, but it's actually best done if you do it as a really rapid technique. You should end with your foot in 90 degrees with your toes barely touching or your wheels barely touching. Let me show you. So we skate, open up wide, and then stop like this. A good way to practice this is with the lemons. That's where you go back and forth on the spot like this. And you try to do it wider and wider every time you do it. So you start off with really small lemons, and then you open up like this. Yo, there's a lot of skaters today. Now, one of my favorite techniques is to grab the peanut butter technique. Is where you go skate and pretend you're in the supermarket and you need to grab the peanut butter, where you turn 90 degrees, step, and then you can grab anything you want out of the shelf. We have a whole video just about the grab the peanut butter technique and also about all these different braking and stopping techniques in this video. So if you want to dive deeper into any of these techniques, you can, because we have like a 10 or 15 minute video just about specifically those exercises probably on our channel, so check it out, where we just break it out really in step by step and how you should learn it. Here in this video I'm just going to explain you kind of like how it looks and what the differences are. Let me do the peanut butter one more time. You skate and then you go step, boom. If you go on higher speeds, you really need to absorb your energy a little bit. Let me show you how it looks when you go a little bit faster. Boom. One of the first stopping techniques that you should really learn is it's called a step stop, where you just stand in a skating position when you're riding and you just step with your 1 foot forward like that. It's perfect if there's like a little ditch here and you need to really stop at a certain point, otherwise you die. you just do, bam, you do it like that. Or maybe there's cars driving here or something really dangerous. Or if you just need to make a solid, simple, precision stop at slow speeds, that step stop is the way to go. Make sure your legs from your belly button down are really tense and strong. You should use all your muscles to strengthen your legs so that you're solid. If you're not, and you just put your foot here, then maybe it keeps on riding or stuff will happen that you don't want. So when you step, you need to really make yourself strong. One technique that more advanced skaters do, and it's really similar, it's called the soul stop. It's very similar to a soul slide, but then it's like the stopping variant of it. It's where you do kind of the same thing, but you roll to it. So first your foot goes out and then it rolls forward. So your foot kind of like makes this movement here while I'm riding. All right, let me show you one more time. You skate, get down, go wide, and then move it forward. And again, you should move all your muscles or use all your muscles in your legs from your belly button down. Your upper body should be relaxed. So when you're skating, now here the ground is really smooth, but sometimes there's obstacles on the ground and you can use those obstacles to stop with. So I'm gonna skate to a spot where there's a curb and show you exactly what I mean. All right, here's a little curb. This is called the curb stop, where I just lift my foot up and point it to the curb. Two wheels should be above it, two wheels should be below the edge. Yeah, it's a good way to use your environment to your advantage. Let me show you one more time. Boom. And then you can also use the curb stop if you start walking up a stair. Come skate, curb stop, and then continue. Now I'm on top. You can also use the curb stop kind of like to do the inverted one, where you like push off using the curb like that. Again, we have an entire video just about this technique where we dive a lot deeper in it. One of the most advanced stopping techniques is called the hockey stop. This is where you stop with all your 8 wheels at the same time. It's the only technique where you do that. Usually other techniques are only like with one leg. Like ice hockey skaters use it a lot. It's really easy on ice hockey skates actually. It's really hard on inline skates. And it goes something like this. Let me show you. You skate, you go outside and then you go inside, like that. It's okay if you open up your legs a little bit like this, one in front of the other. If you're really good though, you can have them parallel as well. But then you get more into the sliding category, which we'll explain more later in the video as well. Those were all the stopping techniques. Now let's move on to the braking techniques. This is a whole different category because the speeds are way higher. The most common braking technique is called the T-brake. Problem with the T-brake is that it's not easy. Like beginners really struggle with the T-brake. So don't feel like you're bad. It's normal if you cannot do a T-brake. We have an entire video just on how to learn a T-brake. It looks like this. You skate, you put your leg totally on your riding leg and this drags behind you. But to be able to do the T-brake, you should be able to skate on one leg first. And that's where it goes wrong for a lot of beginning skaters because they cannot. So if you want to learn the T-brake, learn how to skate on one leg first. And then only then start learning the T-brake because you will probably just fail a lot if you try to do it when you cannot do it on one leg yet. And weird stuff will happen, okay? Well, watch my tutorial about the T-brakes if you want to dive more into this. One technique that is easy to learn is the penguin stop, where you just come to a stop while stepping. Let me show you. You go wide and then you step inwards with your legs like that. That's a penguin stop. Just lift up your foot, one in front of the other, one after the other, with your toes inwards a little bit. And then you'll come to a stop. Actually, it's the opposite of skating, because normally when you stand still and you have your toes outwards and step, you automatically start riding. You don't have to even do anything. But then if you point your toes inwards, you automatically stop. So you're just doing basically the opposite of what you're doing when you want to gain speed. Have your toes outwards. When you stop, you want to have your toes inwards. That's basically the penguin stop. The penguin stop is really elementary and is often forgotten, but it's one of the most important ones because you can learn it really quickly But I still do it like if I have a really dangerous situation where there's like a downhill. It's still a technique that I use a lot as well. The other technique that we're gonna do, the next one, is called the snowplow. And that's what they use with skiing. If you look at a skier, like a beginning skier, they just have their legs wide, toes inwards, so that the tip of the ski like barely touches. And they keep their foot at the same like shape and for the entire slope, right? You just maybe go a little bit like that. But that's the snowplow, and it's different than the pizza point. With the pizza point, how I described it at least before, you started wide and then you closed your legs. But with this snowplow technique, you keep your legs wide until the end. Let me show you. So you go wide, you keep it wide, and then you stop. So the wider you are with this technique, the better, like the harder you brake. If you're only this wide, you won't brake that hard. Every like 5 centimeters that you go wider, you kind of like double your braking power with it. Don't go into a split, of course. The dangerous thing about this technique though is that you're in a triangle position here. And usually with all the falling techniques, you have to guide yourself to the ground first. And you can only do that if your legs are close together. If your legs are wide like this, you really cannot bend anymore. So the falls that you have, if you fall with this technique, are really bad. So that's why it's a little bit of a dangerous technique. It's quite easy to learn. It's also quite easy to mess up. If you're gonna practice it, I want to really emphasize that you should lean forward a little bit so that you don't fall backwards if you do fall, because those backwards falls are terrible. Then the snowplow has a friendly cousin, and that cousin is a little bit harder to get acquainted with, but once you meet him, he's really friendly. And that's the soul slide. Because the soul slide is the safer variant of the snowplow, where with the snowplow you are like this, with the soul slide you are like this. So it's basically the same technique, but with the snowplow you have one leg underneath your nose. So if something happens, you can just go into a mermaid position. One other really nice thing about the soul slide is that it's the only one of these techniques that's really nice for steering away from the danger and braking at the same time. So if you're skating and then there's suddenly a car coming, you can just like dive into a soul slide and steer away and brake at the same time. That's usually what you really want to do ideally, is brake and steer at the same time. Go away from the danger while slowing down. That sounds perfect, right? Okay, soul slide is also one of the most hardest ones to learn. We're gonna do a video about the soul slide later, so subscribe to the channel if you wanna catch it. Let me go through the steps real quickly. First step is to learn the snowplow, because you need to have a little bit of that mindset already of how it is to brake like that with all the tension on your legs. Then second tip is only do it when the ground is wet, when it's nice and slippery. Find a nice slippery surface to do it first. If the ground is sticky, then you won't be able to get it at first. The next tip to practice the soul slide is to find a little bench and practice the grip on the ground and how it feels to get into that slide. Then try to do the same thing when standing up and have your heel against something like this. And if you can do it while standing still, like this, then you can probably do it while riding as well. Let me show you how it looks at high speed. Soul slide. Maybe the most common one that people use is the heel brake. My skate doesn't have a heel brake. If you want to know why, it's because I don't need it. I have all these other techniques. I would want for you as a skater as well that you want to learn those other techniques as well. So go out and play, discover your talent for skating, like practice, and in the end you won't need the heel brake as well. What's the downside of the heel brake? Well, this thing that sticks out, it sits a little bit in the way, of course, during crossovers. Maybe if you ride over something, if you ride off of something, it sits a little bit in the way, and I don't want that. It is a really good braking technique though. It's really really strong, like it brakes really fast. If you're going downhill, it works really good. If you really need to stop quickly, it works really well. So as a beginner, if you want to use the heel brake, that's fine. But it can also make you lazy. So if you have the heel brake and you want to use it, don't forget to practice the other techniques as well, okay? Because the downside of the heel brake is not just that it sits in the way, but it's also because it's a really linear technique. So you can only do it in a straight line. But what if there's a car coming from the side or something, or a bicycle, or like a child that's playing who doesn't see you, or a dog, and you really want to steer away from that instead of just like hitting it, but then hitting it slower, okay? Because that's sometimes what the heel brake does. It slows you down, but you cannot steer away from it, so you'll still hit it, but then with the slower speed. And if you would have steered away from it, you would have not hit the thing at all. So you put your foot in front of each other, and then lift your toe up. If you have a heel brake, then you slow down, which I don't. We do have a video just about the heel brake, so if you want to dive deeper into it, you can check that one out. The last braking technique is the grass stop. And that's where you just ride into the grass. I've seen some other teachers on YouTube explain this technique, sadly, where you want to walk into the grass, and if you can avoid that, that would be great. So that's actually my tip, is try to not run into the grass, but roll into the grass. So you should not do this, but try to learn to roll in it. Let me show you how that's done. So put your foot in front of each other, have your weight on your back foot, and make yourself strong again from the belly button down. Tense up all your muscles. If you do those three things, then you can just roll over any bad surface like the grass. So foot in front of each other, weight on my back foot, make myself strong, and then you can just roll. Okay, let's try it with some high speed. Okay, that's the grass stop. So don't run, but ride into the grass. If you cannot hold your proper grass stop while riding, then you can always have running as a backup. If you do running first, then your backup is hitting with your face on the grass and eating it. You don't want that. So there's braking techniques and there's stopping techniques, but there's also combinations of the two, because in the end of the day, you're gonna go from high speed to complete standstill, and you cannot use either one of these techniques to do it perfectly, to have both, okay? So that's why we combine them. There's a couple of solid combinations that a lot of people do. Probably there's a couple of combinations that I didn't think of. So if you know any other combinations that you like to use, drop it in the comments, because I really want to learn if there's any more that I missed here. The first one that I want to teach you is where you go stepping. It's like a penguin brake, and then you end with a stepping stop. So we go high speed, open up wide, toes inwards, keep your legs wide, step, 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 and then boom. The last one is the precision stop. Probably also easy to learn. If you can do both, you can combine them. There's nothing much to the combination. Then the next one is another variant of that. That's where you don't step, but basically do the same thing. So you start with the snowplow, and then you end with the pizza point. You get some speed, go really wide, toes inwards, and then at the end, I go zoof, boom. That's the precision stop at the end. Again, easy. If you can do both, you can combine them. So there's nothing much to the combination. Just practice both techniques and you'll be fine. Next are all the T-brake combinations, and there's a couple of those. The first one that I like a lot is T-brake to grab the peanut butter. Let me show you. So first I slow down with the T-brake, and then I do a grab the peanut butter for the precision stop. I think if you can do a perfect T-brake and you can do a perfect grab the peanut butter, you're probably okay with combining it. But let me just show you a little bit how it goes, because you drag your foot here behind you, and that's the foot that you should then sling forward and do your first step with. So there's a little bit of a technique there to do the combination. Let me show you again. So you do T-brake and then step, step. Then the next technique is the T-brake to a circle. So get some speed, go really fast, do a T-brake, and then I can do a little circle. That's nice. It's basically where you have your dragging foot, and if you turn it just a little bit more and put some weight on it, then you automatically start doing that little circle there. So just practice that firstly at slow speeds, of course, and build it up gradually. Then the next technique that we have as a combination, that I know of at least, is the T-brake to like a power stop. That's the one that Bill Stoppard always does. So I call it myself, I call it the Bill Stop, because his name is Bill Stoppard. So it makes sense to have a braking technique named after him as well. Bill Stoppard is a great YouTuber. Check out his channel. You can learn a lot from him. Let me show you how his technique goes. So first you go T-brake, and then you turn around into a power slide. Let me show you one more time, because I can also do it a little bit more as a hockey stop. Go like this and then like hockey stop after that. So I combine T-brake with power slide or T-brake with hockey stop. Either one of those. They're very similar. Difference between a T-brake and a power slide is this, and a hockey stop is that. So basically in everything, all the approaches, all the nuances, it's basically the same thing. The hockey stop is a little bit more effective. It's also a little bit harder. So it's up to you what you want to do. As long as you have fun while doing it, the most important thing with all the things that we just mentioned is that you find a way to play with it. Every time you should go skating, I want you to like take at least 10 minutes to practice some techniques, because you should really have like a complete tool belt of all these techniques ready in your like equipment to execute them. Because if you just go skating, you're gonna get into complicated situations, and you want to have these techniques ready and trained to execute them, okay? Then these kind of like techniques that we just did are the ones that are necessary, I would say, to be able to do. They're like the basic level, the ones that you do when you're just like cruising or on your normal day-to-day skate. But then there's also a lot of like unnecessary, and there'd be more like things that you might not do in emergency situations, but there are still like fun things to learn, and they do make you a better skater. Because if you do those techniques, like if you take it one step further, then the basic techniques that we just did in this video will be easier as well, okay? Sometimes you have to go one size up to perfectionize the step down. So even if you manage to go and like perfect all the basic techniques that we just did, still want to push you to go further and go into the sliding techniques. And the sliding techniques is something that these bad boys over there are really good at. So let's play with them a little bit. Sup boys? Right. Oké.
Sorry.
Oh, dat is wel een goede vraag. Soul slide.
Oh ja.
Kan je wel soul slide leren hopelijk. Ja, dat doet hem hartstikke goed. Doe hem hartstikke goed. Maar alleen je geeft een beetje in. En je mag echt niet ingeven. Dus je moet hem echt stijf houden wat meer.
Ja.
Kan je hem nog eens een keer doen en dan gewoon echt helemaal stijf houden? Ja. Ja, je geeft, maar je moet niet toegeven daaraan. Je moet hem houden. Ja, echt meer spanning en dan lukt hij. Ja, dus dat is hem.
Mijn favoriet is dit.
Dat is wel onpraktisch. Ja.
Het liefst zo doet zo. Oh ja. Ah, het moet je eigenlijk alleen op.
Oh. Sick. Getting tips from the pros. Awesome. Boom. Okay, those are some slides that you can also learn. There's a lot more slides, there's a lot more braking techniques. The ones that we just did are in the description, of course, of this video. So click and learn more about the ones that you just saw. If you want to learn more about other stuff skate related, check out our channel, because we make a new video every week. So subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye. Now let's have some fun.